Hey, Brian from Garage Mahal. Today, well, we set up for Christmas finally in here. Today on Garage Mahal, we are working on a 2009 Hyundai Accent, and it's given us a whole bunch of errors, mainly related to the fact that it needs a tune-up really, really bad. And I'm going to show you how to do a whole complete tune-up here. Well, let's go right into it. Let's see what error we're getting on this, first and foremost. And I do have it raised up in the air just so I can kind of cheat a little bit. And what I mean by that is so I don't have to bend over as much as I have to when I'm working on these smaller cars. All right, so the Obd2 Sensors here. That's like a thing for the insurance. So we'll put that in here. Alright, so hopefully there won't be a glare on this. And so it's like looking for the errors. So it's got a P0301 misfire detected. And I'm just going to move this around so we can see it. And that usually, and cylinder 4, cylinder 2, random misfire detected. So it's got a bunch of input shaft, speed sensor signal, no signal. So it's got a bunch of different things all related to this misfire. So we're going to give it a really good tune-up. And let me just put this little State Farm insurance gizmo in here. Oh, all right, we'll just put it right there for now. We're going to let that power off. Let my computer sit in the car. Okay, back to it. So we have a couple misfire errors, and first things first is you want this cover off, and it has 4 10mm bolts that are holding this cover on. So we want to take this and get this out of the way. So we'll just sit this on the floor over here so we don't lose track of it. And this is going to give you access to everything that you're going to need. So it's a 4-cylinder, so it's going to have 4 coils on it. So we're going to be replacing all 4 coils as well as all 4 spark plugs on this because it's going to absolutely need it. We're going to put a new air filter in. And behind here is something called a Pvc valve, which is basically your engine compartment burns oil. All cars do, it just happens. And what it does is this valve makes it go back in here to the ignition system, combustion chamber, so it reburns that gas. So you get a cleaner burning car. You know, it's part of the emission standard to help keep our world cleaner. So we're going to replace that too, because what happens is these get gummed up, and they actually can cause like weird leak errors and everything else just because it's not getting enough air, free-flowing air through there. So then all these other little tubes will start like sucking air in them to compensate for the air that it doesn't get from this the crankcase. But anyway, that's a whole nother subject, but let's give you an idea of what we're going to be doing. So this is the cable routing that goes on top of your engine. And we got to get this out of the way so we have free access to your coils. And the only thing this does is it really just kind of like routes wires around so they stay out of your way so when you're doing your coils. But anyway, so each coil has a little clip right here that you got to push down on. And sometimes they are pretty hard to get out. This one's pretty easy. And if you look at all this garbage under here, the last time I was here, there was actually a mouse that was living under here and just putting all these like nuts and seeds here for the winter. Poor little guy. Anyhow, so each coil has a 10mm bolt. So we're going to pull that up, and then your coil comes out pretty easy. And see how this is all wet? They're not supposed to be wet like this. So that's where you're having your misfire problem coming from. And then way down there is your spark plug. So we are going to go down with our spark plug wrench And oh, you can see the oil that's all over this. And we are basically going to make sure we're going the right way with this. Nope. Okay, that's reverse. Okay, we're going to get this out. Okay, so that's nice and loose. And oh my goodness, you can see the oil coming off this thing. I mean, that's bad. That's really bad. All right, so that plug is toast. Not supposed to be that oily, obviously. All right, and this is everything that we need. So we have a new coil, new plug, new air filter. So we're going to replace these one by one. And, whoops. That is so oily, crazy. Okay. And then what I like to do is I like to use a pair of pliers. And we are going to put this in very slowly down in there. Okay. And then with another extension and another piece of 5/8. And I always recommend you do these by hand because they, you could take them out using a little bit of a, fast wrench or something, but when you put them in, definitely do these manually. And I have used some of my electronic gizmos to get into different tighter areas just because it makes life a lot easier, but you definitely want to have a good feel for when you're putting these down on there. And we're almost there. Okay, make it snug, torque it to spec, and then this is your new coil. So it's pre-lubed, which is cool. Sometimes I take a little bit of silicone and I'll spray it on there just to make it go down on top of the plug a lot easier. And then you just tighten that down. Just plug that wire in. All right, make sure it snaps and you're good to go on that one. All right, so let's get this number 2 over here. I said sometimes you just got to wiggle it, and sometimes I put a plier on it, but you want to be very, like, you barely want to put any pressure on this because these things are so easy to crack. But sometimes they've been oxidized and sometimes you just can't get a good grip on them. Okay, there we go. See how I just grabbed the end? I have to be very careful because these things... Okay, so we got that one loose. So let's go with that. And we'll put that up here so we can get that. That one is loose. I will pull that coil out. And it's another coil that's just old and oily and yuck. And alright, so let's get that plug out. And sometimes we gotta put a little muscle on it. This one has been in there a while. Man, that does not like to come out. Oh, we're still not there. Okay, here we go. What another really super bad plug. Okay. Whew. That was crazy. Okay. Alright, so let's get another plug in there. And I like these Bosch Iridium plugs, are pretty awesome. Alright, so I'll put another plug down in that hole. Good. Okay. That one is nice and torqued down. All right. Oh, good. Another new coil. And you also get a tremendous amount of better gas mileage when you got this all fixed up. Right, so that one's in. Plug this back in. Alright, listen for the snap. It snapped. We are just going to cheat a little bit. And this one's probably going to be tough to get done. Okay. And like I said, be careful. That plastic gets brittle after some time. We got this coil up. Oh man. All these plugs are leaking really bad. Alright, so let's get this new one in here. Actually, the old one out. I think we can. And I like my gadgets, so holy cow. This was another, that plug's been dead for a while. My goodness. Alright. So it's another dead one. I wonder why this was running so bad. However, funny, this thing would start right up. Okay. So. This is just cheating a little bit, I know. Everything's in a sake of time. Alright. So that's good there. Let's get another coil. Alright, so this is your other new ignition coil. Let's put this down here. Good. Plug this in. Right, so. Okay, good. That's nice and tight. Okay, I'll get this last plug. And again, I gotta get this with the aid of the plier. Okay, there we go. Be very careful with the pliers when you're doing that. I know, I probably said that already. All right. All right. And coil's garbage. And let's see about getting this old plug out. And it looks like this was the only plug that was actually working, because it seems really dry and squeaky coming out. Yeah, so that was your only working spark plug, or should I say that was working good. But all right, so that's garbage. Get the last one in there. All right, I'm actually going to squirt this with a little bit of silicone, just to make the threads going a little bit easier, because that was really rusted in there. Okay, put that down in there. In there, and we are all done. I'm going to wipe this off. This is like so oily. My goodness. Okay. Okay, now let's put the last new coil in. Wire in. Okay. Make sure you hear it click. There we go. Okay, so that part of the tune-up is done. Let's put this electrical bar back into place, and then we'll work on a PVC valve. That's all done. We're done with that. All right, so let's work on this PVC valve, and it's got a hose clamp here. Basically, just squeeze that, and then you want to push that back out of the way, and then you get that little foam piece that's there, and then we just loosen up that hose, which comes off. Okay. Let's go with the 15. So it's not going to be this way. It's going to be this way to loosen. Let's get some leverage on it. Okay. So that is your old PVC. And your new one. See how the new one rattles pretty good? That's the check valve in it. And this one, there's like almost no movement. So that's garbage. We'll just put a new one in. And we'll go nice and easy. just make sure we're not going to have any vacuum leaks. Okay, we're good there. All right, and then we'll put this back on. And then with your pliers, let's put this clamp back into place. Okay, so make sure it's completely over the nipple so it doesn't come off. And I think we're right. Yeah, okay, so that's locked in good. Okay, so that part is also done. Next, we're going to replace the air filter. And not terribly dirty, but let's replace it anyway. You got some trapped dirt and debris in here, so that looks pretty good. Okay. That's your STP SA10088 air filter. Put that in there. Okay. And we'll just lock that down. And we're good to go. And that is basically it on this. Do some quick cleanup. But this thing should start up like a champ and run a lot better with a lot less wasted gas mileage, that's for sure. Alright, let's put this cover back on. And we just want to line this up as best as we can. Holes up. Okay, so that is your quick and easy tune-up, your PVC valve, your air filter, coil, and your spark plugs. Let's turn this on and see what kind of errors we got. So basically, all your dash lights are basically out. Your DPMS sensor obviously, but your check engine light is off, and you can hear it running a lot smoother than it did before. So this job is complete. And again, Brian from Garage Hall. Anyway, Brian from Garage Hall, thanks for watching. Be safe out there.